A man is torching entire villages of people alive because he sincerely believes it'll unlock a fire bloodline, and the genuinely grim part is, in this world, he's not completely wrong. That's the whole chapter. Everyone here treats power like something you pry off a corpse, and this guy just read the room and took it literally. But before any of that, our boy walks into the worst first impression of his life. A search party rolls up on a freshly burned village, sees one guy standing near the ashes with a kid and does the math. Burned place plus lone stranger equals killer. Case closed, weapons out. One of them, Gil, gets nervous and just fires at the man holding a child. Gil, you idiot, there was a child with him. Sorry, it was an accident, I got too nervous. Love that, great start, very professional monster hunting operation you're running here. Now here's the beat everyone glosses over. The magic hits Tyran dead on. He doesn't dodge, doesn't shield, he just takes it with his body and stands there. Not a scratch. And the whole party visibly short-circuits because a mage tanking a spell raw shouldn't be a thing. What kind of defensive magic was that, a bloodline ability? No. Remember House Borg gifted him mana-embedded jewelry a couple chapters back and Aziz warned it was a recruitment hook? Yeah, hold on to that. The flex isn't a bloodline, he's just accessorized. And then Tyran gives the single calmest threat in this genre. This is a misunderstanding. I didn't attack this village. However, if you attack again, I will retaliate. Said with the energy of a man ordering coffee. The leader steps up and introduces himself. Bison Carmine from Avacha, and these are his house's vassals. He's not buying it yet, circumstantial evidence and all, but he's willing to check the story instead of just swinging. The proof, there's a survivor. A little girl still out cold who actually saw the real culprit described him as a red cloak, facial hair, rough-looking guy. Tyran notably has none of those things, so slowly the weapons come down. Then everyone gets very apologetic. We were rude in our haste, it was my mistake to point a weapon at you. Even Midden gets a shout-out as an honest leader. Cool. So the manhunt for the guy burning families down pauses for a full round of sorries to the one person who didn't do it. Now the part that made me sit up. Bison explains one of his people, Asha, is descended from ancestors who mixed in Zahar noble blood, what his house calls the primordial bloodline. It manifested weakly, so she's brilliant at search magic but hopeless at concealment. Read that again. Zahar. The exact bloodline Tyran is secretly carrying, sitting 3 feet away saying nothing. And there's the poetry of it. Asha's branch got the search half of the Zahar gift but lost the hiding half. Tyran is the mirror, he's the walking stealth ability, the concealment they can't do. 2 ends of the same broken bloodline standing in the same clearing, and only one of them knows it. So Bison makes his pitch, help us catch the burner. And he sweetens it hard, all the bounty is yours, plus I'll yield my share of the mana. What he actually wants is reputation, which tells you a lot about where this world's head is at. How dangerous is this burner? Some of the villages he hit were defended by multiple knights. All of them dead, he's confirmed noble level. Before they move, Bison entrusts the rescued child to Tyran and hands over enough money to raise her until she grows up. It's a small beat, and it's the one that actually tells you Bison's not a bad guy, he could have walked. Instead, he's paying for a stranger's kid. Then Asha goes to work and the tracking is actually clever. They found an adult male's footprints leading to the main road and picked up the smell of ash. The logic, if he hadn't changed clothes, the ash would still be clinging to him. That's how you sniff out a guy who thinks he covered his tracks. Formation up. Bison puts Tyran at the front with him, everyone else behind. The unbothered stranger is now point man on a noble killer hunt. Sure. They find their man in a remote spot and he greets them like a host. What brings you out here, dear guests? Tyran doesn't answer with words, he just breathes in and confirms it, that's him, that's the smell of burnt flesh. And it's fast. Tyran tells Bison to look after the others, takes his side of the fight and just dismantles the guy, targets the legs and arms so he can't run and can't cast. Clinical. The noble-level wizard who slaughtered squads of knights gets folded like laundry. Then knife to the guy, dead calm. If you use mana, I'll kill you right now. Who the hell are you people? How did you find this place? We have our ways, so you're the burner, aren't you? And the guy just owns it, no denial, which, given what he says next, tracks horribly. Here it is, the motive. God told me that if I burn the souls and flesh of those laden with sin, I can draw closer to God. God taught me the secret way to gain bloodline power. Just a few more burnings and I'll gain the pyromaniac's bloodline. So the man murdering families thinks he's on a spiritual fitness plan. Tyran's response is the correct one and it's beautifully flat. So you're just insane, trying to gain an inborn bloodline that way by committing mass murder for such a deranged reason. No lecture, just a diagnosis. But watch how the burner defends himself, because this is the actual point of the episode. Even ordinary people can gain that power by killing monsters. I've seen several wizards do it. He's not inventing the rule, he's citing precedent. And that's when it lands for Tyran and for us. That's not just the ravings of a madman. This whole world already runs on absorb the kill to grow. The great houses devour their dead kin's mana. Tyran's own party has been splitting slain monsters power the entire series. The burner didn't break the rule, he just aimed it at people instead of monsters. That's the horror this chapter smuggles in past the jump scare villain. It's not crazy man does crazy thing. It's crazy man followed this world's core logic to its end point, and the line between him and every noble house is which corpse you loot. So here's my read. This wasn't a side quest bounty, it's the writer quietly telling us the end game. Someone taught this man a secret way, and I don't think he's the only student. My bet, the burner is one thread of a bigger cult farming humans for bloodlines, and Tyran's Zahar Blood Plus that still locked second bloodline is exactly what they'd want next. Tell me that's not where this is going. Comments. A dirt-broke pirate ship just signed the single most overpowered passenger on this ocean, and they charged him 1 barrel of booze for the seat. That is the widest power gap the series has ever handed us in a single frame, and not one sailor on that deck has the faintest idea what they just let on board. Buckle up, this is a power read. Rewind though. We open mid-argument over a tied-up mass murderer, the burner that Tyran crippled last chapter, and whether putting down a bound man is justice or just slaughtering livestock. The party's ruling is unanimous. Given the body count, dragging him off alive to suffer even longer still wouldn't be enough. So much for the sympathy vote. Then they crack open his notes and find combination formulas nobody's seen in their lives. On the scaling chart, that's the tell self-taught wizards don't just stumble into forbidden theory. Somebody handed this man a cheat sheet. And someone asks the question that should scare you. Did that voice claiming to be a god feed him these two? Hold on to the god voice. It's the quiet horror this entire arc is built on. Then Tyran does the thing this whole world runs on, absorb it. That's the power engine right there. Every kill is a level up, and he just topped off his tank on a noble tier mana pool. The system is grim, and he uses it anyway. Let's be clear about the milestone here. Tyran just crippled and looted a noble ranked wizard, and last chapter he tanked a spell to the face on jewelry alone. He's quietly climbing a ladder most people in this world die on the second rung of. Back with the search party, Bison gets crowned the shiny new star of House Carmine for the catch. Adorable, considering the guy who actually did all of it is standing right there, saying absolutely nothing. Bison heads for a botcha, and everyone quietly agrees to bury the burner's confession, the idea that killing might genuinely unlock power. True or not, say it out loud and you hand the whole world a reason to start murdering. Tyran's official read, no definitive proof, sure buddy. So he takes the road, clocks that fire magic is a headache out in this terrain, and aims himself straight at a botcha. The man has exactly one destination stuck in his head, the Emerald Desert. At the docks, the sailors are a full comedy of suffering. Merfolk hurling harpoons until the hull looks like a honeycomb, pirates on top of that, and so many deaths they are paying funeral expenses instead of wages. Keep the pirates in your pocket, they matter in a minute. The captain's so broke that taking on one passenger means leaving behind a barrel of booze, and that he announces goes against his principles. Priorities, immaculate. So Tyran pulls something impressive enough off-screen that the captain instantly flips to what is a great knight doing in a humble place like this. The tier list just resorted itself in a single panel. His pitch is clean, hire me as crew, not a passenger. Pirates or merfolk show up, I fend them off, call that my fare. Don't care about the pay, don't care about the room, I just need to reach the desert. Captain's sold on the spot, welcome aboard, Sir Knight. Let's actually rank what just walked onto that leaky boat. Cut clear across the map to Mesa, personally running an Arabian subjugation force deep in Dark Elf territory. Her vice captain Kadram frets that she's worth more than the lives of a knight or two, and she waves it off, cool as ever. The reclaim's going fine, they just haven't located the tunnels yet. The second they do, Mesa says she's walking in herself. Frontline princess energy, zero self-preservation. And here's the gut punch tucked in the corner. Keep this up, someone mutters, and she'll end just like her mother and younger brother. Remember that crying sister voice from her dreams back in the dual arc? Yeah, this is the fuse being lit. Back to Tyran quietly spiraling about Zahar, no clue of his father's status, just a handful of heirlooms and a portrait of his mother's face to go on. Barge in blind and it could end him. For once, the overpowered kid is the underdog. On deck, he's learning to tie ropes and trim sails from the boatswain. The genre wants an untouchable knight flexing his aura. Instead, we get the most powerful deckhand alive, doing chores because he figures it's good to know. Mealtime lore drop. Pickled cabbage keeps the crew's gums from bleeding out because fruit spoils fast, and before anyone figured that out, they ate merfolk raw. Establish, reinforce, and then straight off a cliff. And 2 o'clock, a vessel flying no house crest, told you the pirates mattered. The one perfectly sunny, rain-free day, and of course it's pirates. The pirates are faster, so the captain plots to duck behind a nearby island, and their crew's whole logic is as long as there are no knights or nobles aboard, we're fine. The dramatic irony is thick enough to pickle. There is, in fact, a knight aboard. The pirates offer the classic surrender and will spare your lives, which the crew correctly reads as overboard minus your legs. Genre trope respected, then instantly mocked to death. Some pirates mid-kill him when Tyran finally moves. Decides these are those kinds of people, so there's no need to go easy. That 1 barrel of booze just became the best trade that Captain will ever make in his life. My power read, the crew thinks they hired a bodyguard, but they actually loaded a natural disaster onto the manifest, and these pirates are about to become the next line item in the funeral budget. Bet Tyran makes the whole desert crossing look effortless, and that God voice secret is the real bomb still waiting to go off. Tell me I'm wrong in the comment. He signed onto this ship for 1 barrel of booze. By the end of the chapter, he owns the entire boat, and a mermaid prince is personally offering him treasure left behind by gods. Worst hire the pirates ever made. So we open with the pirates raiding the ship Tyran's crewing on, screaming to kill him. Last chapter, he agreed to fight off attackers as his fare. This is him paying rent. He clocks that these are the kind of people who kill for fun, and decides out loud there's no need to go easy. Deadpan, like he's picking a dinner option. Then it just happens, panels of pirates going down, no incantation, no big flashy chant. Remember the causality thing Mesa learned the hard way, better perception, lower cost. This is that, weaponized on a boat. One guy tries to stab him, blades not going in, because say it with me, House Borg's mon-embedded jewelry. The gift he was warned was a recruitment hook, turned out it's just free armor. And that's the fight over. The crew's reaction is the funniest part. Long live the knight. Do you happen to work as a cleaner on the side? Because he wiped them out so neatly the actual crew had nothing left to do. They beg him to see a physician. He's drenched in red. I'm not hurt anywhere. This is all the pirates' blood. Cool guys don't explain, they just casually terrify the people who hired them. Now the plot turns. The captains search the enemy ships and hold on to this. That vessel was a merchant ship that went missing in Abacha. Pirates stole it, repainted it, ran it as their own. And because Tyran finished the whole fight solo, the captain rules the ship is legally his. Congratulations, the shepherd boy is now a ship owner. From herding sheep to owning a boat. The class mobility is unreal. Tyran's response: what is usually done in this case? He has no idea. He's holding a warship and asking for the instruction manual. Captain lays out the options like a proper little logistics lecture. Sorry, walkthrough. Option 1, haul it back to Abacha, Bo, ask the original owner for a reward and lose 2 months to bureaucrats and paperwork. Hard pass. Option 2, sell it in the Emerald Desert, which, note, is exactly where Tyran's already headed to dig into his father Zahar's fate. Option 3, sell at the Northern Sea Islands on the way, where they are always desperate for ships. Then Tyran does the thing that tells you everything about him. He immediately offers to pay the crew for their labor. If I use people, I should pay the price. No haggling down. This is the same guy who declined an entire noble house. Captain asks for 10%. Tyran counters, handle everything up to the sale, take 20. He doubled the man's cut on purpose. Prediction: this captain becomes a loyal recurring contact because you don't overpay a stranger, you invest in one. And just as the deal closes, a mermaid. On the deck. Crew instantly panics that even mermaids are attacking now. Nope, the pirates were keeping a mermaid captive. So Tyran didn't just inherit a ship, he inherited a hostage. This is where the whole episode pivots, so let me introduce our new guy properly. Because when they appraise him, the crew's verdict is brutal. This one's male, so he'll go for a pittance. Rich mainland lords only pay big for pretty female mermaids, and that insult is what makes him start talking. He puffs up, I am Armance, the 47th Prince of North Estadale. Show some respect, you lowly humans, 47th. Buddy, that's not a prince, that's a waiting list. So they test the claim, transform into a fish then. He can't, he's restrained, out of water, needs to enter the sea in a perfect state, which is either true or the world's most convenient escape clause. They ask if mermaids eat humans. His answer is a masterpiece. I've never eaten a human in my life, a beat intended to. The pause did numbers. Then comes the bribe, and this is the beat everyone's going to skip, and it's the whole chapter. To be spared, Armance offers treasure specifically, and I quote, the things left behind by the Freyan gods you worship. Freyan gods? Last chapter the burner's forbidden notes came from a voice claiming to be a god. Now a mermaid's casually pointing Tyran toward relics of actual gods. Prediction. This god thread is the spine of the arc, and it just quietly opened a new door. Tyran reaches a decision fast. The treasure's not far, he'll go tonight and be back. My read, he doesn't care about gold. He cares that something divine is buried near his exact route to his father. They chain Armance for the trip, and he's offended all over again. I am a prince. I keep my promises. The chains say the crew has met promises before. He does get one nervous ask-in though. You'll really let me go if the treasure is actually there, right? And Tyran, the one guy on this boat who pays what he owes, just says lead the way. Bet Armance walks free and joins the crew anyway. So predictions stacked. The captain's a recurring ally, Armance becomes a party member and a lore dump on the Mermaid Kingdoms, and that Freyan treasure ties straight back to the god voice and Tyran's still-locked second bloodline. The gods have been circling him since the desert plot started, and the one they'll flip on us, I don't think that treasure's a jackpot. Armance literally warns it's only impressive by the standards of you land people. That's a setup for it being useless as gold but priceless as a clue. Bet that's the real twist, tell me I'm wrong in the comment. A mermaid promised him buried god treasure. Tyran cashes it in and walks away with a power that lets him sense every living thing around him, pried off a literal dead god at the bottom of the sea. And honestly, that's the calm half of the chapter. We open right where chapter 18 left us. Armance, still salty, warning that Freyan treasure is only impressive by the standards of you land people. Classic guide with the map move, talk the loot down before you've even seen it. Tyran's response to the whole speech, I get it, so just lead the way. Unbothered as ever. Then Armance casts search magic, target, merfolk, and if that rings a bell, it should. Remember Ashah Bison's tracker back in chapter 16? Weak Zahar bloodline, search magic, no concealment. Now here's a mermaid running the exact same trick from the other side of the ocean. Keep that mirror in mind, it pays off in about 2 minutes. Tyran's internal read, at least he didn't lead me to a merfolk stronghold. Low bar, he clears it, barely. And because he trusts absolutely no one, a policy this world has earned, between Assiz's recruitment gifts and Mesa's investment she plans to collect in full, he ties the mermaid up before the dive. Armance understandably loses it. Are you tying me up because you think I'll run away? Armance plays his only card, pure self-interest. If you go down there and die, I'll starve. And Tyran gives the single coldest line of the chapter, then you'd better hope that doesn't happen for both our sakes. Then the actual scale check. It's not that deep, right? Yeah, only about 300 meters. He says it like it's a stair count. He descends into total dark, and here's where the genre would normally hand you a guardian boss, a leviathan, a fight. This chapter hands you a corpse. A Freyan body, one of the gods' people, lying fully intact on the seafloor without ever having rotted into a wraith. The treasure isn't gold. It's a dead god that refused to decay. He makes contact and a new sense clicks on. As I thought, it allows me to sense the presence of living things. And this is the callback I told you to hold on to. Ashah had a watered-down search bloodline. Armance has merfolk search magic. Tyran just skipped the bloodline lottery entirely and pulled a search sense off a divine corpse. Same tool, 3 tiers, and our guy took the top shelf. Back on land, Armance braces for the betrayal he's sure is coming. I thought you'd just take this and sell me off again. Because every human he's met would. Tyran just unties him. Since you guided me without deceiving me, I'm simply keeping my word. In a world built entirely on devouring the weak, the scariest guy on the beach is the one who keeps a promise. Armance is so shook he blurts, "You're a kind demon. If we ever go to war with humans, I'll tell my father not to touch you." Which quietly confirms what chapter 18 only hinted. This soggy hostage is actual merfolk royalty. Tyrann's verdict on being called a kind demon, nonsense. Compliment rejected. Cut to the ship, where the crew is being made to repeat after me as punishment, the guys who rolled in late and started a brawl at the harbor tavern after the captain literally warned them not to. Discipline via public embarrassment. Very pirate. And watching the wounded ones, Tyrann notes something new. He can visually see their life force draining away. So that dead god sense didn't just find fish, it reads the living. He's quietly stacking perception on perception, which, remember, is the whole basis of his magic since chapter 13. The captain, meanwhile, has gone off to find a buyer for the ship they inherited from the pirates. Enter Captain Samuel the buyer. Our captain's missing an eye, this new guy's missing a hand, and the introduction is genuinely, I've lost an eye and this man has lost a hand, so the math checks out. One whole functioning pirate between them. The price, 1,000 Zahar gold coins. Sit with that name for a second. The currency is literally called Zahar, Tyrann's father's bloodline stamped on the money, and the kid's sailing straight toward it without anyone knowing who he is. But Tyrann doesn't want coins too bulky. He asks for magic tools or holy relics of equal value instead. For that, he's told he has to go to Kamad, the second city of Zahar territory. He's not just near his father's land anymore. He's booking a trip into it. Bonus tip from Samuel. Kamad's ruled by House Derman, a tamer bloodline. Grab yourself a decent monster there. Tyrann's take, a beast that understands speech would be helpful on the journey. Man's shopping for a talking pet like it's a rental car. The crew's mood, ecstatic. The pirates turned into money bags. And one of them says the quiet part, isn't this all thanks to serving a descendant of God's people? Tyrann's gone from paying his fare in one barrel of booze to being the ship's lucky charm. Then the dark clouds roll in, storms here. Everyone get ready, furl the sails, get inside quickly if you don't want to be fish food. Waves the size of buildings, crew scrambling, the whole ship one bad swell from the bottom of the sea. And here's the flex to end on. On a narrow wooden boat, the one place you never start a fire, Tyrann lights a controlled ring of flame to shield the ship and promises it won't spread. The helmsman just stares. I've never heard of magic this sophisticated. A man who ties up hostages and fights pirates for a drink, casually inventing weather insurance. And the chapter closes on the old mantra those overbearing wizards used to chant until their last breath. Humans shall serve the wizard, and the wizard shall reign over humans yet also care for them. That last clause is the whole title. He didn't just protect the ship, he shepherded it. So he's got a god sense, a mermaid prince who owes him, and a one-way ticket into Zahar territory, his father's land, with nobody aware whose blood he's carrying. Bet the reunion isn't a reunion. Bet Kamad goes sideways the second House Derman looks at him too long. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. A bird that only respects things smarter than itself just ditched the rich house that raised it to follow a broke fallen noble. Hold that, because this whole chapter is people quietly deciding who's actually worth following. Rewind a sec. We open on the crew still shook from that stormfire ring last chapter. I've never heard of magic this sophisticated. Yes, buddy. You also hired this man for exactly one barrel of booze. Somebody finally gets why the stuffy old wizards used to hold their breath doing this stuff. Humans serve the wizard reigns over humans but cares for them. Cute little creed, keep it in your back pocket. Then the crew pools all their ship money into a goodbye gift. Tyrann says it's too much. Their counter-argument, if you don't accept it, God will be angry with us, genuinely unbeatable. And now these hardened pirates are full-on sobbing. Sir Knight, we won't forget you. This man fought their whole crew for a drink 2 chapters ago. Cut to House Derman, and here's where the chapter actually starts cooking, just not the way the shopping trip promised. The house head, Cal Derman, takes one look at Tyrann's face and freezes, and Tyrann clocks the freeze instantly. Tyrann Brahms, fallen guardian bloodline. Except Cal keeps eyeing the wallet, you're awfully rich for a fallen noble. Guardian blood, perfect for mercenary work, sure. Point is, he's being profiled and he knows it. So Tyrann corners the daughter later and just asks it, you ever seen someone who looks like me? She goes, you looked a bit like someone I know. And now we're cooking. Cue the internal spiral. Curly hair, big ears, straight nose, he already knows he's wearing his mother's face. So did Cal recognize his mom? Or, and this is the one that actually rattles him, did the man see the father whose face Tyrann has literally never known? He walked in for a pet. He's walking out with an identity crisis. Anyway, monster shopping. Every room in the breeding grounds has its own custom habitat. The place is basically a 5-star zoo. He eyes a nice one, the price, 4,000 gold. That's twice his entire fortune. Our guy who thought he was rolling in cash after the ship sale humbled on the spot. So he pivots straight to the bargain bin. Finds a cheap flyer with stupidly good mana capacity. Cheap flies well, high capacity, immediately suspicious. Turns out it's cheap because it's too smart for its own good. It flat out refuses to obey anyone it decides is dumber than it. Told you to hold that thought. They even tried teaching it to read nothing. Can't tell if it won't or it can't. Great strength raised on premium monster meat, and it just perches there judging everyone in the building. Relatable king. So Tyran does the one thing nobody in this house thought to try. He asks the bird what it actually wants. Then, would you be willing to learn how to read? And the whole demeanor flips. Deal sealed, the two are bonded and the staff is stunned how fast it takes to him. Because the eagle never wanted a master. It wanted someone worth listening to. But the pet was never the point. Watch what Tyran actually does with the visit. He slips in a question, you got any connection to Tallies? Then immediately walks it back, never mind, forget I asked. Classic play. Drop the name, watch the face, retreat before anyone clocks why you care. Because that is the exact name Cal thought of the second he saw Tyran's face. Tallies. Then Tyran tests it from the other side, you know a woman named Vige. Cal, nope, and if she were that beautiful I'd never have forgotten her. This man is DNA testing a stranger through polite dinner small talk. His cover story for all the prying, I already paid so I'm just making sure everything's in order. Airtight. The bird, meanwhile, is already calling him master and taking little head-clearing flights. Adjusted to the good life faster than I adjust to anything. Back at the meal, the small talk turns loaded. You came from the Carmine side, wasn't that near Arabian? They start filing their guest next to those sparrows. Marin, a history bloodline. Everyone at this table is quietly placing everyone else on a chart. One of them flexes to test him. As expected of a guardian, you're sturdy. Tyran, completely unbothered, not interested. Where's my picky eagle? And the eagle spent the entire morning practicing its handwriting. 2 chapters ago, this man was drowning pirates. Now he's a proud reading tutor dad. Meanwhile, a Derman who could never bond with the thing completely loses it. You damn bird, what do I lack that you act like this? I could raise you better than some fallen noble. Buddy, the bird only respects intelligence. The answer to your question is right there. And then the dinner chatter drops the thing you actually need to hear. Dark elf tribes are stirring in the west, and the Arabian subjugation force, commanded by that skinny Mesa. And these nobles are foul about her. Hope she gets assassinated this time. She's skin and bones, she'll die on her own. Feel bad for whoever marries that hideous sight. But we know Mesa, the frail genius starving herself for power, and last time we checked, an insider already tried to have her killed once. This is not idle gossip, it's a countdown. Then Zahar's messy succession slips out, Ramen, Alma, or Perga, nobody's sure. At least those guys have a successor. And the name just keeps orbiting the table. I wish Tallies would finally just decide already. So Tyran asks the obvious one, what kind of person is Tallies? The answer lands like a brick. Househead's younger brother, second in command of Zahar, and essentially the man running the entire house. The name Cal saw buried in Tyran's face is one of the most powerful people in his father's land. A bigger deal than I thought, Tyran mutters, and yeah, no kidding. My read, Tallies isn't just some relative, that resemblance means Tyran is walking straight at the man who may have carved up his own family. Bet the reunion is very much not the warm kind. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments. Someone tries to mug Tyran in the desert this chapter, and it goes about as well as mugging a landmine. A fallen noble looks at a lone kid, sees a walking battery he can drain, and decides today's the day. He is wrong in every possible direction. But the robbery isn't even the wildest power read here, the bird is. First, the political tier list. Tyran finally gets told who Tallies actually is. The househead's younger brother, second in command of all of Zahar, and the man effectively running his father's entire house. A bigger deal than I thought, he says, which is the understatement of the arc. Read it on the ranking. If Tallies holds Zahar together and Tyran turns out to be even a smudge on the family name, he gets crushed instantly. Hold on to that, it's the whole reason this kid keeps his bloodline buried. Then comic relief. His new eagle learned to write. It proudly presents I am a black eagle, signs it good, and Tyran has to gently explain that's not how you spell good, and actually the rest is wrong too. This is the smartest animal in the story and it is failing a spelling test. But here's the real power note smuggled inside a joke. Gud says Tyrann's insides fit him perfectly because of the bloodline. Zahar mixed with the mother house. This bird didn't pick a friend, it picked genetics. Remember that, it matters. Cal Durman invites him hunting to stretch his legs. Tyrann's leaving today. And Tyrann reads Cal cold, no fight required. The man pretends to be warm, but he just wants to pin Tyrann under force so he can feel superior. That's a tier assessment on a person's character, and the verdict is one word: suspicious. So naturally the farewell comes with an armed escort to the fortress walls. Carl's order: nothing says we trust you like a guarded send-off. Before he goes, Tyrann cashes his coin for a desert guidebook and enrolls religious texts, authored by one Brito Zahar, bankrolled by the mother house. Maps lacking, info's solid. He's studying the enemy's homeland before he ever sets foot in it. The eagle chirps, "Yes, master. We're not done fixing its grammar, but the loyalty's locked in." Then he walks into the Emerald Desert, on foot. His eagle is right there and he refuses to ride it. Keep that in your pocket, it pays off. Enter a stranger, oozing fake concern, dangerous for a young fellow to travel alone. The oldest desert predator opener there is. Now the fun part, the power misread. This guy scans Tyrann and confidently concludes strong mana, pathetically weak body, defense only, a guardian primordial bloodline husk that lost the ability to strengthen itself. In his personal tier list, Tyrann is a loot piñata that can't fight back. Hand it over quietly, he says, to a Zahar, alone, in the dark. I just need everyone to sit with the confidence on this man before it evaporates. Tyrann slips into stealth magic and the wizard actually laughs. It's the petty spy trick, he sneers, only hides your appearance while your presence screams your location. Breaking it, he says, is child's play. Except nothing, no presence, no footprint, no smell, no sound. That petty spell is the real Zahar concealment and it's total, not the knockoff he was expecting. Told you the bloodline mattered. So let's correct the ranking, because the gap here is embarrassing. First hit lands and the wizard genuinely cannot tell what struck him. Then Tyrann brings the flames. Now it finally clicks. That wasn't the guardian bloodline, he's a Zahar. And fighting a Zahar wizard in the desert at night is, in his own words, literally suicide. But watch the cope kick in. Even if he's a Zahar without a body-strengthening bloodline like mine, he can never catch up. Buddy, he already caught up. You're monologuing about the race while losing it. Turns out the mugger does carry some defense, not guardian tier, but enough that an ordinary noble would have died several panels ago. So Tyrann mid-fight just asks him flatly whether he's got a defensive magic tool. Full analyst mode while the guy's on fire. Have mercy, the wizard begs. Tyrann replies, do that. That's 2 chapters running where somebody sizes up the shepherd, files him under easy, and immediately regrets being born. And the walking instead of riding thing, he went out alone on foot in the dark as bait. He wanted to see exactly what kind of predator the desert would send at him, called it. The eagle stayed up high on purpose. So the scaling stands where it stood all series. Every weak guardian husk assumption is a trap Tyrann is thrilled to spring, and the actual final boss of this arc isn't some desert mugger, it's Tallis, the man quietly running Zahar. My bet? The second-in-command learns about this stealth before Tyrann's ready to be found. Tell me I'm wrong in the comment. So Tyrann builds a gun this chapter. In the middle of a desert, out of gunpowder, from a recipe he memorized off a dead serial killer. And honestly, that's maybe the third most unhinged thing he does here. We open right where we left off, that fallen noble who tried to rob him. Tyrann notes the guy's sturdier than expected, thanks to his bloodline, and quietly clocks a problem. His rock slinging just bounces off proper defenses. His fix, he wants piercing magic. Something that punches through guards instead of chipping at them. File that away, the whole back half of the chapter is him solving exactly this. Then shall I consume it? Just casually. Absorb the kill, his signature move since the burner. This man treats defeated wizards like a buffet and I've fully stopped flinching about it. What he pulls off the guy is a mana storage item and it's Freyan. Same divine origin as that god corpse he looted at 300 meters underwater. He wonders if he just drinks it. Then decides it needs verification. Rare moment of caution from a man who eats strangers' power for breakfast. New scene, new intel. Someone scolds him for wandering alone and Tyrann just steers straight to what he actually wants. How do you get into the tomb of the gods? Apparently, per a book he read, you only need money. Except locked down. Powerful people showed up about a week ago and sealed it. Even merchant caravans got turned away. And the powerful people, the Zahar family, his father's house, the one bloodline he spent 20-something chapters hiding inside his own face. So of course the plot drops them right in his path. Cut inside the tomb and it's a mess. Purga Zahar and his hangers-on are trapped, snapping at each other, doing the classic "this is your fault" routine while monsters close in. Here's the why. There's a hidden underground beneath the Tomb of the Gods, and legend says solving its secret makes you the next house head. Purga's grandfather told him about it. He searched every single year and found nothing, until now when the door opens and it's wall-to-wall monsters. Careful what you wish for. Then a small tell that's easy to miss. Purga drinks something and suddenly he hears a language he's never encountered, but he understands it. It says the desert. Keep that in mind. This place messes with people's heads, and I don't think that's decoration. Back to Tyran, who reaches the smart guy conclusion first. Lay low. He does not want another Calderman moment, someone staring at him and seeing Tally's face. Being the secret heir is exhausting when everyone's your uncle. So he goes shopping. A merchant offers saltpeter, supposedly extends your lifespan if you grind it up and eat it. Tyran's brain goes somewhere completely different. He remembers saltpeter from Orville the Pyromaniac's book. He'd given up on the recipe last time for missing ingredients. Now he wants the rest. He asks for sulfur, merchants never heard anyone ask. Volcanic regions only mostly used for disinfection, basically impossible to find in a desert. Merchant tries to upsell him precious black sugar. Tyran, not really my thing. This man will eat a wizard's soul but draws the line at dessert. And then he cooks. Gunpowder, mana, stones, bullets, but not dumb bullets. He can reshape them mid-flight, crank the piercing power, or scatter them into a spread. Remember the piercing problem from the first minute? Solved casually with basically medieval chemistry. Downside, it burns more mana. Upside, it saves his stones and he's down to 6 processed ones, so he's rationing. He also notes they're handy for binding ankles or blinding people, so it's a gun, a net, and a smoke grenade. Prediction. This is the toolkit he uses to walk through a tomb full of monsters like it's a Tuesday. Now the setup snaps together. The nobles have been stuck 3 days. Tyran weighs it, should he just skip to another city? He's tempted. Then the decision that runs the rest of the arc. Nah, he'll sneak in and take a look. His only worry, if he's caught, he can't run. Except concealment is his entire bloodline gimmick, so that worry lasts about 1 panel. Inside, it's kidnappers guarding the entrance, hauling cargo in, muttering "just don't kill him." Control magic in the air. And here's the detail, the kidnappers are the ones looking terrified. When the guards are scared of the room is the villain. We learn the stakes. Sir Purga's trapped inside, they keep feeding in food and water, and they refuse to alert the main house, because if Purga's succession rivals here, he's stuck, he's finished. So they're basically babysitting a dying candidate in secret. Tyran's gears turn again. Save Purga, make him indebted, infiltrate the Zahar family from the inside. Genuinely a great plan. Then he admits the truth, the reason doesn't matter, he just wants to go in. Iconic, never explain yourself. And here's the payoff to that voice I told you to remember. The moment Tyran enters, his head clears, meaning he was being subtly charmed the whole time. Something in this tomb pulls people in and fogs their judgment. Called it. That's not a monster problem, that's a trap with a mind. Then he finally sees Purga. And Purga kills one of his own people just to take his water, 0 guilt, 0 hesitation. Tyran's read lands cold. This is not a man who deserves saving. Chapter cuts on Tyran midline, closing in. So here's my prediction. He does not rescue Purga the clean way, that charm trap and the hidden underground are connected, and Tyran's going to solve the secret the actual heir couldn't, quietly, then leave Purga to rot. The Zahar succession is about to get a ghost candidate nobody can see. Bet that's the real twist, tell me I'm wrong in the comments. The most feared family in the entire desert started as 3 women handed over as a thank you gift, and one of the powers born from that gift. It's the exact stealth our boy is quietly standing on this whole chapter. This is a lore dump, and it's secretly Tyran's origin story. So we open on the Enril Plains, yeah, that desert everyone's been trudging across for like 15 chapters. Turns out it wasn't always sand. Giants ruled it, ate everything in sight, and turned a fertile plain into a wasteland. Classic ecological villain arc. And because giants apparently run on absurd water bills, they enslaved humanity and drained human blood to quench the thirst. Thousands a day. cool, normal breakfast. Then one moonless night, under a sky of absolute darkness, the night hunter of the Freyans shows up and just deletes every single giant, saves the whole species. One guy. This is the genre-mandated legendary savior, except keep that word Freyan in your pocket, because it's the same Freyan god corpses Tyrann's been strip mining for powers this whole arc. Grateful humanity offers him the three most beautiful maidens in the land as brides. And here's the part the story quietly hands you and hopes you weren't paying attention. The three unions each inherit a power. One could conceal his body, one could command shadows, one could create poison. Write those three down, tattoo them somewhere. This chapter looks like a bedtime story, but these three words are the entire skeleton of the plot. I'd bet money this recipe comes back to matter hard. Night Hunter ascends, leaves, and immediately the brothers start fighting over who rules the desert. Because of course they do. You give three siblings god powers and a kingdom, nobody's throwing a birthday party. The one who could conceal himself just noped out. Didn't want to fight his brothers, so he vanished, which, honestly, on brand for a stealth guy. Meanwhile, Shadow Master and Poison Master wage a brutal war and drag the whole desert into despair. And here's the rule of three payoff. You'd expect one of the two warring brothers to win. Nope. The eldest, the one who left, comes back, beats both younger brothers, and claims the whole desert. That eldest, ancestor of Zahar, which means the founder of Tyrann's dad's dynasty, was literally the concealment bloodline, the guy who hid. Suddenly Tyrann's whole "nobody can see me" cheat isn't a coincidence, it's an inheritance. He's not breaking the rules, he is the rule. Anyway, enough bedtime story, back to Tyrann standing in a pitch-black labyrinth, and his life sense pings something. His read on it, quote, thoroughly unpleasant. The man detects a nightmare monster and reviews it like a one-star restaurant. Then the vibe flips. Did it spot me? It's fast. Something in the dark just clocked him. And this is the actually insane part. This thing saw through Zahar's stealth. Remember, that's the concealment bloodline that fooled a literal Arabian war genius. Whatever this creature is, it just did something almost nothing in this world can do. Small mercy, Tyrann clocks that its detection range is narrow. His response to being seen through for the first time in the series: the first strike is mine, no panic, just first dibs. He drops one and the others don't even flinch. A creature dies right next to its own kind and nobody reacts. That's not a pack, that's not even really alive in the way things should be. Hold that thought. Payoff one panel later, he kills it and can't absorb any mana. Barely a trickle. For something that hits that hard, that's impossible. A body like that should be packed with mana. Plus the holy relic didn't react at all. His conclusion: it's a magic creature. Manufactured, not born. He turns to the thing that made it and asks the only real question: true identity. Before flatly calling the whole encounter tiresome. Man's fighting an anomaly and he's bored. Cut to Purga's group, and it's the funniest hard cut in the chapter. These nobles are so lost their sense of direction, quote, went to hell a while ago. They're literally recognizing the same hallway twice. They sense a rat. Tyrann, and Purga in his infinite wisdom decides not to catch him. Let the rat run around, we'll use him as bait for the monsters. Remember that line? It's about to become the single most ironic decision in this arc. 3 days later, the two groups are just coexisting in the dark, and it's lopsided in the best way. The barrier bloodline lays traps to catch the rat, but Tyrann sees every one of them lit up through the holy relic, so he strolls past clean while Purga's crew keeps triggering their OWN traps in the dark. The hunters are the ones getting caught. Tyrann uses the relic to map safe zones, marks the sparse spots, and sets up bases to slowly expand his range. Dude's not lost in a death maze, he's running a survey. And when a corridor's packed too thick with monsters to push through, he just borrows Purga's group as free monster blockers. He even shrugs off the lost mana. The creatures give so little it's not worth the effort. He's outsourcing the danger to the people hunting him and losing nothing. Meanwhile, Purga's out here calling it despicable that there's no one left to wait on him. This man is trapped in a monster labyrinth, and the crisis is bad service. So naturally, he sends his own men in as bait while he goes to check the deeper part alone. Told you that bait line was coming back around. And what's in the deeper part? A door. A massive one. Tyrann clocks it instantly. It looks like it was made for giants. Which, if you were awake during the cold open, means we've circled all the way back to the giants that started this whole desert. The myth wasn't a myth, it's the map. And the door answers with cold system text. Pursuer conditions not met. Then, conditions enemy T. Something in this tomb is checking bloodlines like a bouncer with a guest list, and Tyran just qualified for something. So here's my read. This whole labyrinth is a machine built around that three-brother recipe: conceal, shadow, poison, and it's silently sorting everyone who walks in by which bloodline they carry. Purga thinks he's the main character down here. He's the bait. Tyran's the one the door's been waiting for. Bet that's the real twist. Tell me I'm wrong in the comments.